Hi everybody, welcome to Right to the Top. I'm Adam. In today's video, we're going to look at a very common problem that writers have. Not just IELTS, TOEFL test takers. Everybody who wants to write at some point faces this problem. How do you avoid repeating words? Sometimes you have to express an idea and you just need those words in there to do it, right? So that's the topic of today's video, how to avoid repeating words. And we're going to look at these three tools: synonyms, pronouns, and structures, okay? Using the two first ones and changing the third. Now, it's very important to understand that for the IELTS and TOEFL test takers, all of these are very important, and the graders are looking for your ability to use all three, especially the third one, changing structures. This not only affects your vocabulary score, it also affects your grammar score and your cohesion and coherence score. And I'll show you why and how with samples. So let's start with synonyms. Now, we're going to look at the word student. Education is a very common topic on the IELTS and TOEFL, and people have to write some essay about education at some point. And a lot of people need to use the word student a lot. And if you look at some of the samples, some of the practice tests you've done, you're probably using this word a lot. But look, these are just a few examples of synonyms that you can use. A high schooler is a student in high school. A freshman is a first-year student in high school or university. An undergraduate, a person studying for a bachelor's degree. A graduate, a person studying for a master's degree. A senior, final year of school. A major, a person who's focusing on a particular subject. A learner. Anybody who's a student is also a learner. Pupil. Now, notice I put pupil at the end. Why? Because this is a very overused word. Everybody likes to have a synonym for the word student because, again, it's a very common word. Everybody uses pupil. So if you have a paragraph with student, student, pupil, student, pupil, student, the pupil doesn't actually help you. The graders know that you just remember this word and you're a bit limited because you didn't use any of these other ones. What these other ones do is they let you say student in a different way, but they also let you be more precise with your language. Instead of just saying student, which could be kindergarten, college, community center, you're saying an undergraduate. You're very specific about the type of student, the context, etc. So, university students who take engineering courses usually do this or that, right? Instead of using all of these words and using university students, which you're using too often, engineering majors. They take engineering courses, that means they're engineering majors or engineering minors. Minors is another student type, okay? Young students, say young learners. University students, if they're studying for a bachelor's, they're undergrads or undergraduates. Undergrads is a bit casual, sometimes it's okay though. If they're studying if they're working towards a master's degree, they're graduates pursuing a master's degree. Again, use different words. Try to use fewer words if you can, or whatever. Just try to use fewer words if you can. Now, how are you going to use fewer words? You're going to use pronouns. Pronouns, the whole purpose of pronouns is so you don't have to continually repeat nouns, okay? Students who study, those who study. The verb study, or the who study, means this is an adjective clause that identifies the pronoun. Who study implies students. It's obviously that a student studies, so I don't need to say the word student. I just use the preposition those, okay? Students who take classes in, those who study, those who take classes. Same idea. Those. Now here are the pronouns, or most of the pronouns. He, him, she, her, they, them. I know I'm not actually teaching you anything new. You all know these words. You all use these words. The problem is you don't use them enough in your essays. And the graders are looking for it, and they notice when you're not using them. If you're repeating the noun many times, the grader's thinking, why don't you just, put in a pronoun? It works just as well, and it's not boring for the reader. Keep that in mind. And now, rewrite. This is the most effective and can help you get the highest increase in your points. Look at this little paragraph. press pause on your video player, read it carefully and slowly, and try to think, what problem do you see here? Again, we're thinking about vocabulary. Think of vocabulary, what the problem is. When you're ready, press play and I will show you, okay? Book. I'm using the word book 4 different times. I'm using the word student 3 different times. The grader will see this. You're losing lexical range points or resource points and even a little bit of cohesion points because it's mostly redundant. Look, I'm using 79 words, or I'm not using, the person who wrote this had used 79 words. All the samples I use, by the way, on these videos from people just like you, people preparing to take tests. They send me samples and I check them. 79 words. So I changed this. First of all, I went to 54 words. So 25 words I got rid of because they just weren't necessary. And I didn't change the meaning at all. Now, how many times do you see the word book? I had 4. Now I have 1. And not just book, textbook. I'm being very specific to the context of education. Textbook. How many times do you see the word student? Again, just once. At some point, I have to mention the students. Once is enough. Everything else is pronouns and some sort of restructuring. So for example, can be quite a burden when carried. When carried means when it is carried, and I reduced it. So I took the passive structure. I got rid of the subject and the be verb because I don't need it. Different video, don't worry, I'll explain it. And I have the participle here that includes the word student and book when it is carried by the student, right? I have its, I have it, I have this digital form. So before its digital form, the book's digital version, this digital form, I'm talking about the same one version. So I don't need to say the book so many times. I don't need to say the word student so many times. And this way I get rid of a lot of words. Now, you're thinking, well, I can't write like this. You don't need to write like this. You just need to start practicing towards writing like this. And if you make the effort and if you make the attempt, the graders will take that into consideration and give you some bonus points for trying. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're not looking for a 9 band. You're not looking for a 30 score. But if you have student, 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 book, 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 you're definitely losing points. At least try to make some changes, okay? I'll give you one more example and that'll be it. Again, read through carefully, tell me what the issue is, try to fix it, press play and I'll show you, okay? So in this paragraph, the word student or students is used 6 times. Way too many. You cannot do this and not lose points. The word organization, twice. The word rules, twice. In the way I fixed it, I got rid of organizations, I got rid of rules because they were redundant. Redundancy is a big issue for cohesion and coherence. And I went from students, undergraduates, and I think that's it for, yeah, that's it, twice from 6. I use a different structure, preposition with adjective clause, without which we're talking about discipline. I don't need to say the word rules again. I don't need the word organizations because we're not talking about organizations. We're talking about education. We're talking about attendance, okay? So check the differences here. I'm more focused. I have fewer words, 21 fewer words. I don't repeat words, and I still stay on topic. And again, all of this takes practice, and it takes a lot of reading. The more you read everything, books, magazines, newspapers, the more you read, the easier it is to write tighter sentences. Cohesion and coherence, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, all fixed in one paragraph, okay? And that's it. If you have questions about this, and I will make videos about the passive. A lot of teachers tell you avoid the passive. No, use the passive. Just use it efficiently, use it correctly, and use it for a purpose. Don't put it in just to put it in to get more words. I'll make a video about that. If you have any questions, please ask me in the YouTube comment section. If you like the video, please subscribe to my channel and give me a like. And come back next week for another writing tip, grammar tip, vocab, etc. See you then. Bye-bye.